Electric bikes seem to be getting heavier and heavier. So we've noticed that modern bike racks are getting heftier and heftier, and a trend we've seen a lot is that ramps are now being included to the racks. They're designed specifically for your electric bike. So if you are looking for a way to carry your heavy e-bike around, well, this video is going to compare some of the most popular electric bike racks that have ramps included. We'll talk about how the ramps work, what you might need to look for depending on your bicycle and your vehicle, and that way, hopefully, this video will help you find the best fit for you. Hi, I'm Evangeline, and I've worked with a lot of different bike racks here at eTrailer. So the bike racks I'm going to compare today is the Yakima OnRamp LX, which is the updated heavy-duty electric bike rack with a ramp. And we're going to compare it with the Hollywood Racks Destination E. And later in this video, we'll also give special mention to the Thule EasyFold XT and the Thule ePost. What we're going to focus in on today is ramps, especially the ones included with your bike rack. Just because if the ramp's included, that's a pretty big indicator that that bike rack is specifically designed to be used with a ramp. A lot of bike racks have ramps that can be added to them, and a lot of them work pretty well, but they are an extra expense that you might not want to have to consider, especially since bike racks can get pretty pricey. Now, it's not always about the price point though. You do have to really look into the specs to make sure that the bike rack is capable of carrying your extra heavy bikes. And the differences are gonna be in the construction and just how it's designed with holding down your bike. So we're gonna start with the loading process for our bike racks here. They have very similar features and similar weight capacities, so the loading is something that might be a little bit different. Before we continue though, some good tips when loading your electric bike is if your battery is removable, go ahead and take that off. That will save you some weight and also help protect your battery from prolonged exposure to the sun and the elements. The next thing is always load your heaviest bike closest to the vehicle. We are ignoring that rule right now just because I want to show you how the bike interacts with other bikes on there, but moving forward, heaviest closest to the car, lighter furthest away. For the Destination E, the ramp is not attached. You are going to have to remember to store this inside your vehicle somewhere, and don't forget it when you drive away. Now with this though, it's very easy to store. It feels very maneuverable. I don't feel any sharp edges or any pinch points. In order to expand the ramp, you loosen the knob in the back, bring the ramp out, put it onto the rack, and then tighten down that knob. The Destination E's ramp is really stable. I really like the design of the ramp with it being so wide with its base. The maximum tire width for this bike rack is up to 4.5 inches. And with its rounded cradle design, I actually think it makes it a little bit easier to get your bike up and on there. We have 3 points of contact, and this does have a weight capacity of 70 pounds per bike. So overall, a very impressive rack when it comes to capabilities. And you saw here it was really easy to get our bike on there, even though the distance between the bikes is 11 inches. The other boxes it checks off is it does have locks, both for your bikes on the frame mount as well as for your bike rack in the hitch. It fits into 2-inch hitch receivers only, and it technically can be used on motorhomes, although Hollywood Racks specifies that it's Class B motorhomes, which is like your large Sprinter vans or express vans. My favorite feature though of the Destination E is its tilt away. It has a very dramatic tilt away where you turn a knob in the center of the rack, you just push that knob out, and then you can push the whole rack away from you, creating an almost 180-degree rack. So if you're someone that needs to get into the back of your vehicle pretty often and get access to your cargo, and you don't want to unload your bikes, the Hollywood Racks Destination E is probably going to be the easiest and maybe most safe heavy electric bike rack to help you with getting access to your cargo. Now this will be a lot easier with 2 people, but most racks tilt down towards you, and having this give you the option of tilting away from you gives me a lot of peace of mind. Now when you don't have your bikes on there, this can fold up into a more compact position. It does have a clip as well as a pin holding it in place though, and you did need to lower that mast, which took a little bit of time. But this is going to give you the option of making it a bit more compact for when it's behind your vehicle or when it's stored in your garage. But if you need a little extra weight capacity and a bit more versatility, and maybe you want to carry your bike rack on an RV, that's when you start looking at the Yakima OnRamp LX. This one, in the name OnRamp, has the ramp secured to the bike rack itself. This is very helpful if you're the type of person that tends to forget to bring their ramp, and this makes it a lot easier to grab. Getting it set up is a tad bit more of a process. You have to remove the knob completely, and then you take apart your ramp and then put it back together by notching the bolts into the holes, and then you have to tighten it back up with the knob. But once that's done, you can then clip the ramp into any side of the bike rack. While in the Destination E, you are limited to just the front chock or the front cradle. The ramp for the OnRamp LX is pretty wide as well, helpful for those wider tires. The previous iteration had a thin ramp where the tires would get stuck if they were in between sizes. This is staying pretty stable, even though it looks like it might flex a bit. This is designed to hold up to 80 pounds per bike. Now the ramp is on the short side, so we have a very steep incline here, making it a little trickier for those heavier bikes. But once this is in place, you then have 3 points of contact. So you have 2 wheel straps as well as a frame mount securing your bikes. Along with its higher weight capacity, this can also carry longer bikes with up to a 54-inch wheelbase. Technically up to a 5-inch tire width, but only for your smaller tires. If you're carrying some 29ers, you can only carry up to a 3.5-inch wide tire. If you want to use this on an RV, that's fine. It still has that 80-pound weight capacity. But if you do want to take this off-roading, then that weight capacity does drop. The perks, though, is that it does have an off-road rating, which is something the Destination E doesn't have. What I'm not a biggest fan of though is how it tilts away. This utilizes 2 pins and honestly requires you having 2 people to properly tilt it away. And once you do tilt away, it's not that deep of a tilt. So when I tried this out on a SUV in our studios, I couldn't even get it to tilt far enough to completely open up the hatch. Those 2 pins will also need to be loosened and removed if you need to fold this up into the compact position. It does fold up pretty compact though, and this will be helpful if you just need to store it on your vehicle or in your garage when not in use. For security, this includes a lock for your anti-rattle bolt for your hitch receiver, but it doesn't include a lock for the bikes. It has a bracket though where you can run your own cable lock if you want, which is a little different compared to the Destination E. While you can't go wrong with either bike rack, if I really had to decide between one or the other for something I would recommend for you, I would start with the Hollywood Rack's Destination E. It really has pretty much everything you could ask for from a heavy electric bike carrier. It has decently high weight capacity, it tilts away really well, and it has a ramp included if not attached to the rack. However, if you need something extra, maybe some extra features, that's when you'd look at the Yakima OnRamp LX. It has more weight capacity, it can fit more vehicles, and it can fit more types of bikes. Now, it does have its pros and cons as well, but you can check out our full review videos if you're curious about the specific features of the racks. We have full demos where we really delve into them. Now I did promise that I would talk about some Thule bike racks, and they are a common and popular option for your heavy electric bikes. If we were talking about a bike rack that would have a ramp included, that would be the Thule EasyFold XT. What we currently have out now is the Thule Epos, which is the upgrade from Thule to their EasyFold. Unfortunately, they no longer include a ramp with the Thule Epos, but you can have one added to it. The EasyFold XT has a ramp that is stored inside the rack, but the ramp is kind of short, so a lot of people were upgrading to the longer ramp, which could not be stored on the rack and had to be kept inside of the vehicle anyways. The EasyFold had a 65-pound weight capacity and the Epos a 75-pound weight capacity, so both of them are still less than the OnRamp LX's weight capacity for those heavier e-bikes. While the EasyFold XT and the Thule Epos don't really compare up to the Hollywood Racks Destination E and Yakima OnRamp LX when it comes to the ramp design, it still has its place in the bike rack community. For example, it folds up to be very compact to make it a lot easier to store in the garage, and it has a lot of really good features to it. But so do a bunch of other bike racks. If you're looking for an answer to a niche problem, there's usually a bike rack made for that. But when it comes to bike racks with ramps that have everything you need to carry your heavy electric bike, these are my two favorite options to recommend. Well, you can't go wrong with either bike rack. If I really had to pick one bike rack to recommend to you, I would start with the Hollywood Racks Destination E. It really offers pretty much almost everything that you would need in an electric bike carrier. It has a good weight capacity at 70 pounds. It tilts away really nicely, and I like the ramp. Very easy to use, even if it doesn't attach directly to the bike rack. However, if you do need something extra, that's when I'd start looking at the Yakima OnRamp LX instead. It has more weight capacity, it can fit more vehicles, and it can fit more bikes. Plus, the ramp is attached to the bike rack if you do tend to be a forgetful person. It is on the shorter side and a little trickier to use, but there are pros and cons to both bike racks. If you're curious and you want to see more on those features, check out our full review videos here on our website. My name is Evangeline, and today we got to choose between two electric bike racks with ramps, the Hollywood Racks Destination E and the Yakima OnRamp LX.